think little guy said the plane, it's the brain. This is an amazing thing. The more I study this thing, it is absolutely the neurons, and it is the most fascinating thing of what this thing can do. But when you look into that mirror, every day you look in the mirror, when you look at yourself, when you look at your surroundings, there is no excuses. It's all this. It's all this. And you are responsible. It controls your life. And then all these little things I'm teaching you, if I was to give you this right here and give you the combination to it and give it to you and say, do the combination, can I tell you, for most of us, knowing the combination, you won't get it right the first time. All you have to do is be off one line, and you won't unlock this. You will not unlock it. And you know what? The code's on the back, and I can give you this with the code on the back. And I would say, out of 10 people, I would say 5 would not get it. You may spin it one time too far. You may back it up too far. It's not that it's complicated. It's you don't do it enough. Life is about unlocking codes. It is about aligning yourself with the right line. You just can't say, oh, this is what we do. Oh, I don't think you have to do that. You just go 3 times. Oh, go 4 times. Go 2 times. I showed Diane a little thing last night. This guy, he was all buff, and he was a leader and a multimillionaire, and he was talking about success. And he said, this is my standard. Now listen to this. He said, and this is a multi-million-dollar company. He said, you cannot be on my leadership team if you do not have a 6-pack. He said, listen. He said, now, right now in this room, we like, well, that's ridiculous. It's exactly what I'm teaching is ridiculous. Do you know how many people are cut out of the game by not having a 6-pack from being on this leadership team? He said, it's a standard that I get to put in place, and it's my standard. You can go work anywhere you want to work. I don't care. I don't care where you work, but if you go work for me, you go have a 6-pack. What a standard. That's a standard. All I'm trying to tell you is for you to be successful, there's a standard. You don't have to abide by it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to. Help me, Benita. I just want to communicate to you. I don't ever want to come across angry or mad to you. I do want to shake you because I thought when I was 13, 14, and 15, I'll show you. I'll do it my way. I don't have to do that. Wow, what a waste of time. You do have to do it. You do have to do it. You don't have to do it the exact style, but you do have to do the right combinations for life to work for you. And if you don't do it, it will not work. And when it doesn't work, you will become a victim, and you'll become disappointed, and you'll become discouraged. And then, you know what really gets you discouraged? You can get upset with mom and dad because they didn't teach you. Because they told you, you're so cute. You're so cute, and you can be whatever you want. If you follow the combinations, you can. It just doesn't work any other way. I wish it did. If it did, everybody would do it. That's why there's only like 2 and 3% of the entire population that does it. There's only about 2 or 3% of Christians who do the real Christian thing. Only. It's a very small percentage of Christians that really live their life 100% for God. Most people, it's just a thing they do on Sundays. It's an activity. I am not going to jump into Joshua 1, 2 through 10. Most of you probably have that memorized by now. But let's take the first verse. Prepare to cross this Jordan River. The Jordan is transition. The Jordan is an obstacle. The Jordan is crossing something to go to a new place. You have to prepare. Whatever you want to do in life, you got to prepare. If you're going to open, Lisa did a lot of teaching, even though she already had a school going. When it moved to another location, she had to prepare to move. Everything in life, when you move to a new house, you have to prepare. You have to prepare to move. You have to prepare the transition of the move. You have to prepare. Everything is preparation. So you are preparing if you want to go somewhere else in life. You got to prepare for that. So when you look at Joshua, this whole series here is about preparing you, giving you the necessary tools and information for you to decide whether you want to cross over. Right. And I've said this, I know 20 times. In this room, one person decided to be a doctor, and no one else decided to be a doctor. Benita has her master's. Miss Chalet has her master's. And there's different levels of education. But we all stopped somewhere. May not have been a doctor in medicine, but it could have been a doctorate in education. It could have been a doctorate in music. It could have been anything you want. I do believe with education you could have went anywhere you wanted to go. But here's the question. Here's the statement. We didn't want to pay the price that Dr. Z wanted to pay. We didn't want it bad enough as Dr. Z wanted it. That doesn't make him better, but it does tell you that he wanted something really, really bad. And he didn't get married. Did you get married before you graduated? Towards the end. He waited to the end. See, we can't even wait. We are so pleasure driven. We're so pleasure driven. You can be anything you want to be if you pay the price for it. You don't get to be that. You can't pay someone to be a doctor unless they pay the price. So wherever you are, wherever I am, it is your decisions. This right here made Zach a doctor, and this right here made you where you are. This makes you go get it. This makes you procrastinate. This makes you study. This makes you watch TV. This makes you act like a fool, and this will make you act classy. It's all right here. It's not your upbringing, it's your brain. Your brain makes you act that way. Your brain makes you talk that way. Your brain makes you everything. It comes from our mind, and God says, "I have given you a sound mind." Now we can discuss this whole sound mind principle, but when we talk about leadership this morning, there are a ton of qualities that you would state that a leader should have. You all have, I doubt if we may get some overarching words, but most of us, we would all have these words of what a leader is. Self-confidence is important in leadership. Initiative is important in leadership. Flexibility, resilience, being able to bounce back or unmoved by situations and circumstances. Authenticity, integrity, all these things we all could come and agree on that. When you look in the Bible, there is a little bit different, even though all these things matter to us, but when you look at the Bible, it says seek God. When you look, David sought God. Everything you do is just, it doesn't mean you spend a week. There may be certain things you do, but really it is, God, I seek your counsel, your direction, your input on how do I make the proper decision. It's being fair and just, slow to anger, servant-hearted. these are all key characteristics to leadership. So if you were presented with an opportunity, are you right now prepared to be a CEO of a business? Could you be a CEO right now? What would it take for you to be a CEO? Now, again, it seems like I'm using Dr. Z, but I'll use him. He works at Novant Health and or the hospital, whatever the technical name is. There is a CEO of this hospital, and he's over all the Novant area right here. He makes millions of dollars annually, and one of the cool things I liked, he gets an $800,000 bonus. You know, you get $100 for Christmas. He gets $800,000 a year bonus. That's a bonus. That's more than some people make in their lifetime. You figure it out. You make, let's just say, $25,000 a year. Takes 4 years to make $100,000. Let's say you make $50,000 a year. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. It takes you 8 years to make $800,000. Now, how do you think he became a CEO? You think he's just a high school graduate? You think he's someone, oh, listen. Let me tell you something about a CEO that's going to separate it right now. The average successful CEO in America reads a minimal of 60 books a year. High-end, successful, making millions. 60, not 60 hours of the office. Not 60 hours of TV. 60 books a year, and they attend a minimal of 7 seminars or conferences. Do you see this level of information? And they never stop learning. See, you think you get $1 million, I don't have to do anything. No. You want to make more, you got to do more. All I'm saying to you, how many books do you read a year? How many books do you read a year? I don't think you have to read. I didn't just come up with this. Let me tell you what people do. People study successful people because they're trying to find a formula. They're trying to find out, how do you become successful? And they study hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of businesses and CEOs, and they meet and talk with them, and they extract and say, this quality and this quality and this quality, and there's this universal quality. What I am teaching you is a universal quality that's in leaders. It doesn't mean it's 100%. It means it's probably 95%. 60 books a year. Now, let me tell you something. Listen, don't take this the wrong way. If you are a CEO of Novant, you're not reading 60 books of Andrew Womack. You're not reading 60 books of Fannie Flagg. You're not reading 60 books of whatever. You're reading stuff that is continual education to get you to be higher and better and more tuned in, and can make decisions on the fly and implement things and growing, because you are prepping to be a leader. So let me ask you a question. Are you prepared to be a CEO? What skills and abilities do you offer? If I was to ask you, this is one of the questions I ask when people come. They came this week and brought an application, want to go to work. What do you bring to the table that I need? Haley, what do you possibly possess that I need? Because if you don't possess anything, and you don't know anything, and you don't have anything, why do I need you on the team? What do I need you for? That sounds rude, but it's not. What are you needed for? What value do you have? Do you have a six-pack? No, I don't have a six-pack. Well, then what do you offer? I could tell you what the six-pack means. It really means someone that is devoted to do something, because it's hard to have a six-pack. It's just a little, doesn't mean it has to be profound. It just means you got to feel real. You feel it. It's here. You got to do a deep massage to get to it. Listen to me. Are you capable of being a CEO? Everybody wants to be a leader, but are you prepared to be that leader? And last, not only what skills and abilities do you have? Did you do your homework? Well, I almost did it all. We're not talking about you. We almost finished. Listen, let me ask you one more. What successes and accomplishments do you possess? Not only what abilities and education do you have you bring to the table, tell me something that you have successively done in the last 6 months. Think about what have you successfully, what have you accomplished, what has you accomplished? Why is this important? Because the more you accomplish, the more self-confidence you have, because you can't be a leader if you don't have self-confidence, and you will never take the initiative if you don't have self-confidence, because initiative comes from self-confidence, and self-confidence comes from you having knowledge of something to be able to execute something. So what have you accomplished in the last year? You have to write them down. What have you accomplished? Because when you go, listen, if you want to be a waiter and you want to wait tables and you want to do all these, you want to pick up trash, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a starting point. But you will always do that until you have successes and wins in your schedule. So how do you, I know this is a little corny, but I didn't want to bring another thing up. Leadership. Break that up. What do you see in this? Lead a ship. You are leading your ship. This is a ship, a complex ship with an instrumentation panel, with a navigational system. This is a ship. What am I? I am a CEO of this ship. So whether you think you're prepared or not, you're already a CEO, and this is a perfect way to navigate this ship. Oh, listen. There's something also called relationships, which, how well do you lead that mess? There's also something called friendships. How well do you pick those and lead those and bring on to your ship? You are the CEO of this vessel. The CEO is responsible for this vessel. Look at yourself and say, I am a CEO. You are responsible. If there's one thing I've done in the first 3 months of this series, you can never be a victim. You can never make an excuse, because only thing you can do is you can look in your head and say, I am where I am. I think the way I think. I have what I have. I say what I say. Everything I have is based on this. No one else. You can't blame anybody. You can't blame slavery. You can't blame victimization. You can't blame incarceration. You can't blame addictions. You can't blame divorce. All those may have effects upon it, but they did not make the decisions you and I did. So I am a CEO. I am in charge of this ship. You are in charge of every ship that's connected. And hey, a ship has to make port somewhere. A ship has to be tethered. What are you tethered to? Who are you tethering yourself to? Why do you want to pull into any port and dock? What kind of passengers are on your ship? What kind of friendships? What kind of relationships? What kind of connections? You are the ship. The captain is in charge of the ship. You are the captain of your ship. How good of a captain are you? Are you a CEO of your body? Are you a CEO of your eating? Are you a CEO of your exercise? Are you a CEO? You got to evaluate yourself and say, now, how would I rate myself as a CEO? Because you are a CEO. And whether you want to accept the responsibility, everybody looks at your life and decides, that's a bad personality right there. That's a good personality right there. How about this? A CEO, you're the public face of your business. You are the personality of your business. You represent your business. How well do you represent? The way you dress represents your business. It represents your standard. Listen, I'm not getting into it. I mean, I honestly, let me pause for a minute. I shared it with a couple of people, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on it. I had a phone call this week that really just shook me. It shook me in the sense it was the most saddened phone call when I got off the phone. And for 2 or 3 days, Diana even asked me, she said, why did it bother you so bad? I said, because I guess I was naive. And this individual is a senior. And this individual is a good friend. This individual I know very well. But in our conversation, this is what this individual told me. I do not like going to meetings. I don't want to go to meetings. I do not like personal development. I do not want to submit to anyone to tell me what I like and don't like and what I need to change. I don't want to submit anything. I want to just go home. I want to be with my family. I do not want to have to go through all of this stuff. And I have to tell you, it saddens me. Listen to me. Listen, I'm going to share my heart. It saddens me when we come in here and people don't worship. It's not that I'm mad. I realize you just don't know what the hell you're involved in. You don't know who you got saved by. You don't know who your Savior is. You don't know who your King is. You don't know the one who died on the cross for you. This is absolutely, you would stand 3 hours in line to see Trump, and you can't stand and raise your hands to God. That's why I don't have a church, because I can't be in a church of 500 people and 450 are just doing like this. I don't want to be part of it. And guess what? You don't have to be part of this. There's 100 churches in Wilmington. Go be a part of them. I want to be someone where God looks down and says, that's my children right there. They love me. I don't, Medina, I don't want that. So you can judge me all you want, but it's not that we all have to be the same. It's we come, he says, when you go to church, you do this. Worship is a part of your faith. It is not optional for you, buddy. Whatever she or who tells you, it is not optional whether you worship. You get to choose whether you worship, but it is not optional that it means he accepts your excuse or your reasoning. It says, pray at all times. It is not optional for you to pray. It is not optional. It is not optional. So I'm very happy not having 500 people. Do I want 500 people? I absolutely do, but not at the price of doing what she's doing. I'm not holding 500 people. So anytime, and I say this, okay, because I'm fine with Zach and Lisa, and I'm fine with Casey and Amanda. I'm fine being family. At this stage in my life, I am fine. I have come to the place I am fine being family. If you're uncomfortable with people in your business, you're not a family. You're something else. But we're supposed to come here and encourage each other. We're supposed to come here. So you are the personality. You are the personality. And if we're going to get into a whole trait on personality. You have to change your personality where it is a good personality. It is a positive personality. It is. You're responsible for the growth in the sales. I am responsible for the growth here. That rests on me. And I just told you. I don't need 500 people for me to feel like I'm a leader. I'm more of a life coach. I'm more of a coach, not a pastor. If you're looking for a pastor, someone who will pat you on the head and tell you and just hold your hand and, you can be any way you want. You never go get that from me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to agree with your excuses, and I don't want you to agree with my excuses. You're the responsible for the growth and sales of the company. You are the passion and motivation behind your company. If you don't have any passion and motivation, if you don't have a pleasing personality, if you don't have a charismatic personality, if you don't have any of that, it is your choosing. So my whole point about the church, this is my choosing where I want to be and not be a large church. I am not into childcare. I am not into drama. I'm not into. When God saved me, that would have been fine 14 years before 2004. But when I touched the hand of God, and I know what's out there and exists in the relationship with God, and religion sucks. It sucks. So you are a CEO. So let me share with you just a few things that I wrote down. What does not matter in leadership? Style. Leadership style. Does it matter? It matters, but it's not a qualification for leadership. You don't get to go work somewhere and say, you go choose the style of your leader. What kind of style does he have? Is he a jokester? Is he buy me a coffee? Does he like to come and chat? We like people that's kind of like our style. Choosing the style of leader is not what you want to choose. Neither does a leader have to be concerned about being likable. At least in my concern. I don't do anything to be unlikable, but I find that most people that don't like me are the people that I really don't care whether they like me or not. Because you really don't do anything in my life. You don't pay me. You don't feed me. You don't encourage me. You don't compliment me. You don't do anything in my life. So why do I really care whether your opinion, whether you like me, matters? Now, that doesn't mean you're mean. It just means you can't be a leader and try to get everybody to like you. And you can't be a leader and lead by consensus meeting. Guys, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? A leader don't make decisions based on opinion. They make decisions. They have feedback. They have sensors to know feedback and where people are, so we're all on the same page as we turn the ship, and we're not throwing people off the ship, but at the same time, we're not saying, let's vote to see what we do. There's no voting. And the last one is trying to be cool, trying to be relevant and fit in. So self-confidence is a key in leadership. And what makes a person self-confident? They have to know who they are. And when you look at all these questions that Lisa keeps sending out, I don't know, we're at 40-something, these are thought-provoking questions to get you to answer and evaluate yourself, because most people, the majority of people, do not know themselves. If you were to ask people, what do you want to do? You have a teenager. You ask a teenager what you want to do. I don't know. Where you want to go? I don't know. You like this? I don't know. Why would you even ask? If you get I don't know all the time, why would you even ask them anymore? Why don't you just make the decision for them? To lead, you must know. You must know yourself. That is the biggest thing. You must know your values. Let me ask you, I think I sent this out and it was one of the questions. If I was to right now go around the room and say, give me 3 things or one thing, we'll just do it right now. We'll start right here with Jackson. Jackson, give me one non-negotiable in your life. In any context. What's one non-negotiable in your life? What's one non-negotiable in your life? What's one non-negotiable in your life? Jesus, what's one non-negotiable in your life? What's one non-negotiable in your life? You have to know your non-negotiables, because they're always going to get challenged and tested. Here's a non-negotiable for me. I don't care if everyone in this room decides to become drag queens. I don't care if everyone in this room decides to be same-sex. You get to make that decision. And I support your decision to do that. But I will never accept that marriage is anything other than one man and one woman, period. I'm never going to change from that. That's a non-negotiable. Well, what about? There's no what about. How many non-negotiables do you have in your life? How many non-negotiables do you have? Here's a question I'd wonder. How many parents have sat down with their children from the time they're little and discussed non-negotiables? If you would have discussed non-negotiables when they're 13 years old, they wouldn't be bucking the non-negotiables, because they would know this is non-negotiable. I'm letting you know what's non-negotiables. You have to know what you will not compromise on. Now, you may make adjustments to things, and you need to know what your non-negotiables are, and it doesn't mean that when you learn more things, you don't make some changes. But there has to be things that you can become what non-negotiable is. You must know things, and you must know about you. Rule number 1, you must know yourself. You will never, and I will never be a successful leader until you know yourself. And the only way you can know yourself is you must ask probing questions. The second way, you must have other people. That's not number 2, but the knowing yourself, you've got to have people speaking into your life and helping you out. The rich young ruler went to Jesus and said, what do it take for me to be born again? Jesus said, this is one thing. And he wasn't able to make the change. You need to find out what you are willing to change in your life. Some people are happy with their personality and their attitude. And you get to have your personality and attitude. You get to keep it. You've made it. You own it. It's right here. But if you don't understand that that personality and attitude can prevent you from going further, you better be willing to change it. Rule number 2, you got to build character. One thing Diane's always taught in parenting is there's a lot of things about children you have to work on. There is no non-negotiable. If you lie, you are going to get your bottom tore up. Because if you lie, I can't trust you. If you lie, you will steal. If you steal, you will lie. There is no lying. I may not like what you tell me. I may not agree with what you tell me. But if you lie, if you dance around it, there is trouble here. That's the same thing. We have to have trust. And we have to make it that when we're trustful or when we're truthful, that there's not immediate punishment, but we need to know I have to be honest here. So we have to build character. Number 3, you have to earn your stripes. That's an old saying. Earn your stripes. You have to earn leadership. If you've been appointed leadership, if you've been appointed supervisor, manager, anything, that's called appointment. That's not called leadership. Every leader, listen to this, every manager thinks they're a leader, but not one leader thinks they're a manager. Every manager thinks they're a leader, but not one true leader ever thinks they're a manager. Big difference. Leaders must win. Here's the thing. You have to be a winner. I was thinking about this morning. And I said, I have to navigate stuff. I'm sure if Rania and Roman and different ones want me to play a game with them or something, I'd have to decide whether I wanted to be on their team or not. Let's just play for fun. I don't play for fun. I'm playing to win. I will spike that volleyball right there in your forehead. Ain't no play. He's 5 years old. He's in the game. Well, can't you just play? I mean, Bree and I had this conversation. Well, it's just fun. No, it's not fun. It's not. I don't like losing. And I'm not a competitive person. I just refuse to be part of something that says, well, I don't care if I win or not. I don't care if my marriage works or not. I don't care if this car runs or not. I don't care if the house has got termite damage. I don't care if I don't care. What do you mean you don't care? I care. I think that it's a healthy thing, but everything you do to the best. I will play one game, and everybody on my team that kicks the ball in volleyball, they're off my team because you don't play volleyball. You need to go play something else. I'm more into dodgeball. Boy. Don't hit them in the head. This is dodgeball. Wherever I can hit you, you go, no, you've been hit. That's the point of the dodgeball. I know y'all, when you talk about all this stuff, people are like, well, I don't know. See, you get to decide whether you want to be a leader or not. But don't think you're ever going to get an $800,000 bonus. They want someone to run the business that can get them profitability. They want something that has the personality. They want a culture built. They want to expand. They want to know the vision. They want to know how you're going to do this. 60 books a month will give you a lot of ideas. Sometimes I'll read a book and I'll get one thing, one word out of a book. You know, you can read a book and see something and it can change your life in a book. The Bible does that. It changes your life. How do you put a value on that? Number 4, think big picture. You got to think big. Where are you going? A leader has to see where we're going. Number 5, leaders are made, not born. Because you are appointed to a position doesn't make you a leader. You have seen a lot of people appointed to positions, and take Disney. They put someone in Disney with the wrong ideology, the wrong thing, and absolutely drives that company to the ground. A bad leader will make you lose money. Self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is one of the first steps in leadership. You have got to be constantly. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing I've learned about business, about everything. Once you go on autopilot, Somebody that's more hungry than you will eat your lunch. They will come past you, and then they will pass you. How did they get here? And it's because you were. You have to say, I am going to be the best I can. And if you can't commit to be the best you can, then accept loss. Accept it, because you're going to lose. Define your values in this self-knowledge. Define your values. That you got to know who you are. You got to define your values, define who you are, define your non-negotiables, the principles that you will not change. So when you're under pressure, when you're put in a tight spot, you know who you are. I would say if you had to choose between the greatest teacher, adversity or prosperity, adversity will teach you more than prosperity. Adversity, losing, failing will teach you far more than prosperity. Prosperity is the happiness of what you've learned, but failure is going to be part of your life. When we talked about the 6 fears, one of them is the fear of failure. If you do not overcome the fear of failure, you will never take chances. You have to take risk. You have to. But if you have prepared and you have the right people around you, you can make decisions. Purpose is so important to your leadership. Why are you a CEO of the company? Why are you director of the company? Why are you the supervisor or the manager? You need to understand what it is. When you become a leader, it allows you to express your gifts. It allows you to showcase all that you know. It allows people to see you now on display of how you handle stuff. How's he going to handle? You got that person that's always got an attitude. How do you handle them? I got a good one. Hire slow, fire quick. And when you go into a team, you ever seen that movie, that show Bar Rescue, or some of those that goes in? There are people that go into failing companies and they go in, evaluate the company, and get it back on track. That's what I'd love to do. Because if your company's failing, it's the leadership team that's causing it to fail. It's the agenda of that. The people you lead should be a reflection. When I look at this group of people here, the majority of them are a reflection. They're not necessarily a reflection of me, but they are a reflection of leadership. They're a reflection of growth, reflection of maturity, reflection of success, reflection of the Word. You should be a reflection. Your children should be a reflection of you as parents. If your children are not a reflection of you as parents, you're not a leader in your family. Do you realize how many places you have to lead before you ever call yourself a leader? You have to lead all the time. You lead every day. Every day of your life, you're leading. A leader knows his followers, a leader knows his business, and a leader knows himself. Let me give an example. Let me use Daniel for an example, because he works more in a blue collar. Wouldn't you say that's more of a blue collar? So you have employees, and then, I don't know his lineup. You have employees, and then you'll probably have line supervisors or department supervisors, and then in different areas, and then it'll go up to a production manager, which is over that, and then it goes up different areas of sales. Let me tell you what a good leader does. A leader just doesn't know their role. A leader knows but you should know, whatever your position is, you should know how to run anything 2 positions below you, and you should be able to know how to run anything 2 positions above you. That when the opportunity comes, I can step down and fix this. When the opportunity comes, I can step up. You don't just Well, I know how to cook. Do you know how to prep? Do you know how to clean? When no one's there and this place has got to be clean, do you know how to open? Do you know how to deposit? Do you know how to do it all? When you know how to do it all, that's when you become valuable. And when you become the most valuable person, they won't get rid of you because you're so valuable. And then every time a position's open, Shakima, me, I'm ready. I know how to do that. Well, I need some training. You should have been training because you're always in prep. Because if you're not training, you don't have, what was number 5? Big picture? Or number 4, big picture? You weren't thinking. You're just thinking of staying right where you are. I'm not staying where I am. I'm looking at, when I was talking to Casey, he can be an employee at Lobby. He can be a supervisor at Lobby. He can be a store manager. He can be a district manager. I mean, Diane and I, we knew someone, I think Larry and Cindy, they started out at The Rock at Walmart on Sigmund Road, and he ended up being a top executive at Walmart, making 7 and 8 figures, flying around on a corporate jet for Walmart. Did y'all hear me? He started right over here on New Center Drive at Sigmund Road, working with cashier and worked his way up. And within 5 or 6 years, he was flying, had his own jet flying around for Walmart in the corporate world in the double-digit millions. And then people will work at Walmart for 30 years at the front door. Thank God for them. Because you always go have those people. I'm just choosing not to be one. You can be whatever you want. All that I'm teaching you, you don't have to use any of it. You can sit back there and say, whatever. That's fine. And you know what? When you're 40 years old, you can be whatever. And when you're living with your mom and daddy at 40 years old, whatever. I'm not... It's not going to be handed to you. Nothing's going to be given to you. I have yet to find a tree that has coins on it. I've yet to find the end of the rainbow. God said you and I are going to work, and you're going to work. It says you're going to earn it by the sweat of your brow, the sweat of your thinking. You're going to have to work. And I would suggest that if you struggle with some of my things that I'm saying, I would suggest you read 30 books instead of 60, and you'll see if what I'm teaching you is not in all 30 books at some level. It may not be the exact wordage, but at some level, they're going to tell you what I'm telling you. And what I'm telling you is what I have learned of how this stuff works. Self-sacrifice is essential to leadership. What does self-sacrifice mean? It means you're going to give more time, you're going to give more energy, you're going to work harder, and you're going to give physically, and you're going to give the longest hours more than anybody else if you're going to be the leader. There is no 9 to 5. There is no 8 to 5. You work until it gets done. Daniel goes in, I see him, he'll go in on Saturday mornings, he'll go in here, he'll go in there. Not that he's even asked, but to make sure everything's on track. You have got to pay the price to be successful. And let me say it again, your sinner's prayer and your salvation will not get you there. You have to cooperate with the laws. A major requisite for leadership is the ability to make quick and firm decisions. You don't have time to think about it. You don't have time. You got to make a decision now, on the spot. When you go into a building, when you go into the mall, when you go into a place, if you are a person that likes to conceal carry, when you go into a building, the first thing you should be, where's the exits? Where's the best place? What am I doing? If an active shooter comes out. These people are thinking ahead, man. You in there, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. Yay, yay. Them active shoot people, they're like, They've already scoped out everything, looked at the sketchy people, looked at all this stuff out, and they're looking, I'm going out of here alive. My nickname is Osk. One shot kill. That's it, man. Tap, tap. Let's go. We're going home. We're going home. People go in the military, they come out of the military and they go into security and open security firms. Why? Because they were not just in the military doing something, they were in the military learning a trade, and then they used that trade. My nephew went in and came out in communications and computer, and he has yet to have a job under mid six figures in IT. He went in the Army, came out in communications and computers, and he works for some top corporations in the Raleigh-Durham area. And every job, he can choose what job he wants. He's good at it, and every job he gets is mid-six figures. Know your definite chief aim. Know your purpose. Know what you're going to do. And not that I need to tell you, I'm right in the middle and just changing up my definite chief purpose. The one I've just had. Because the more you ask questions, you say, I need to make a little adjustment here. Well, you said, it doesn't matter what I said. I'm the one that's got to execute it. It's not a major once you see the adjustment. You can say, I see why you made that. But the more you ask questions, the better the understanding is. You just get more parts of the puzzle. Does that make sense? We're going to have to run through this. You got the paperwork. This is so key. I want to show you something. You're in Acts 27, right? Yes. You know what Acts 27 is, correct? Acts 27 is the whole thing when I started off some time ago. That's where storms, shipwrecks, and snake bites come from. I'm going to teach you on that one day. It won't be anytime soon. The time's right. Let's start right here. I want to show you something. This is Paul. Paul's on a ship. How many people's on the ship? Hello? How many people's on the boat? Hello, talk to me real quick. How many people's on the boat? There's 276 people on this boat. How many people work for your business, your company? About 60. How many people work where you work? 60 or 70? 60 or 70. We're talking about a cruise line here, right? 276 people on this boat. Paul's one of 276. You ever been on a cruise? Paul is one of 276. He is a nobody. He is a prisoner. Nobody, prisoner on this boat. Y'all ready? Okay. Let me see where I want to start right here. We're going to start at verse 9. Paul advised the frightened sailors that they should not put out to sea in such dangerous weather. Men, I can see that our voyage would be disaster. He just spoke up. What is that? Initiative. Did you hear this? He spoke up and said, we should not take off. How many of us will say, I don't know if we should do this or not, but I guess they know. We ain't not going nowhere. I'm not following the herd of mentality here. Now, Paul didn't have a thing because he was a prisoner. But I'm telling you, you need to have initiative to speak up in these situations. Are y'all with me? Paul advised the frightened sailors that they should not put out to sea, be disastrous of us, and bring great loss not only to our ship and the cargo, but also our own lives. Why did he care about the ship? Why did he care about the cargo? He was a prisoner. Come, y'all not getting any of this. Have y'all ever seen this before? Why would a prisoner care about the cargo and the boat? I'm not doing nothing. How many of you? You don't have to even be a prisoner, and most of us won't do anything. They don't care if the ship goes down, the business sinks. They don't care anything. It is my opinion, everybody, But the officer in charge was persuaded more by the ship's helmsman and the captain. See, you go give initiative and advice, but there's somebody that's going to be, oh, but me and Zach, we like this. That's my buddy right there. I'm going to go with Zach. You don't ever go with someone because they're your friend and they're cute and they give you a ride. Oh, y'all not getting this leadership. I have never taught on this. This is just coming. The majority. There it is right there. What is the majority? Leaders don't make decisions on the majority. The leaders make decisions because they know if we go out here, we're going to get in trouble. So you should have an L up there by Paul advised the frightened sailors right here. Officers in charge, you can see this. Verse 13, when a gentle south breeze began to blow, they assumed they could make. They assume. Leaders don't assume. They know. I think we can do it. So they pulled up anchor and sailed close to Crete, but it wasn't long before the weather abruptly worsened. The storm, here we get into the storms, the storm of a hurricane forced, called the nor'easter, tore across the land, blew us out to sea. The sailors weren't able to turn the ship around in the wind. See, a lot of times when you're in a downward spiral, you can't stop the downward spiral. Okay, 18, the next day, because of being battered severely by the storm, the sailors jettisoned the cargo, and by the third day, they even threw the ship's tackle and rigging overboard. See, all that stuff mattered in the beginning. Now it doesn't matter. After many days of seeing neither the sun nor stars, and with the violent storms continue to raise against us, all hope of ever getting through it was abandoned. After being without food for a long time, Paul, what does that say? Stepped. Go back to Joshua. Wherever you step and put your foot, I will give you the land. He stepped before them all and said, you should have obeyed me. What did he say? I was right and you were wrong. I told you so. This is so good, isn't it? You can't find this type of teaching in no church. You should have obeyed me, avoided all this pain and suffering and not leaving Crete. Now listen to me. Don't be depressed, for no one will perish, only the ship will be lost. You may lose your ship. Remember me teaching you that. You may lose your career. You may lose some stuff if you go turn your ship around. For God's angel visited me last night. Remember, good leaders seek God. The angel of the Lord God passionately served. He came and stood before me and said, don't be afraid, Paul. You're destined to stand trial before Caesar. And because of God's favor on you, He has given you the lives of everyone who is sailing with you. So men, keep up your courage. Look at what he's doing. Pep talk. I know that God will protect you just as He told me He would, but we must run aground. We go crash on some island. Didn't know what island. To be saved. On the 14th night of being tossed around in the Adriatic Sea, about midnight, yada, yada, yada. Let's jump down to 30. Some sailors pretended to go down to drop anchors from the bow when in fact they wanted to lower. They were trying to slip out and abandon. Paul said to the Roman officer and his soldiers, unless you all stay together on board the ship. He's in charge. He's now in charge. Who's in charge? A prisoner's in charge. Where did Joseph go? To a pit. He went to prison. He's in charge. Unless you all stay together, there's no chance of surviving. What I am telling you, listen to me. If you do not listen to these laws and success things I'm teaching you, there is no chance for you to be successful. If you don't save, you will not be successful. If you don't have initiative, you will not make top-tier leadership. If you do not have a definite chief aim, you will wander and drift. And then I'm going to talk about personality and imagination. We're going to get into a lot of it. I'm telling you, I'm giving you good news that's wrapped in bad news. If you don't listen to what I'm saying, you will not be successful. Period. Write it in your Bible. At the moment they heard this, the soldiers cut the ropes. At the moment they heard. Now they listening. As soon as he said it, they cut ropes. Parents, when's the last time you said something and your children cut ropes and obeyed immediately? You're not leading your family. Just before daybreak, Paul urged everyone to eat. Now what is he doing? He's comforting them now. Come on, guys, we got to eat. He said, today makes 2 weeks that you've been, there's another leadership, in fearful peril and hunger, unable to eat a thing. Now eat and nourish, for all of you will come through this ordeal without a scratch. He's feeding them now. He's serving them. Is this not good? Have any of you ever read this on leadership? Verse 35, then Paul took bread and gave thanks to God in front of them. Now he is being an influential person of his faith. Broke it and began to eat. There were what? You learned the number. You didn't even know how many people, how many times you read that and didn't know how many people were on the boat. 276 people are following a prisoner. People who ate until they were filled. They had a party. And they strengthened and encouraged. After they were satisfied, they threw the grain into the sea and lightened the ship. Jump over to 28. Just pull it up on the screen. 28, chapter 28. I'm just going to show you a couple of more things. I'm on a roll. I know, but my Bible is just popping this morning. 28, how about 28:3? Can you get 28:3? Oh, let me read 28:3. Then they landed on the Isle of Malta. There was a fire. Paul had gathered an armful of brushwood and was setting it on the fire. What's this word? He's serving again, and he's initiating. Most people just sitting around the fire. I like fire tenders. I like people that are always putting logs on the fire, getting it hot. Oh my gosh, I could go on. And then it goes on, and leadership opens it up to the whole village. Do you see he went from a prisoner? I mean, he went from a prisoner to leading a ship on one voyage. You are the captain of your ship. You are the CEO of this ship. Quit making excuses for your ship being tipped over, sinking, dilapidated, in a mess, and take responsibility and right the ship. Quit taking on water. Quit taking on the mess. Is that not good? So I'm going to give you last three things, developing winning habits. If you don't think you're a winner, this is a leader. I'm talking leader. I'm not talking church here, right? But I'm talking business, right? If you don't think you're a leader, you don't belong where you are. You should have self-confidence to think and know you are a leader. So you need passion. The reason you got to have passion, you can't get emotional about what you believe in your heart. If you can't get emotional about what you believe in your heart, you'll never make it. You got to have passion about your faith of serving God. You got to have passion about your job. It makes you get out of bed in the morning. It may not be the job you're always going to have, but you have to go in realizing I'm a leader and there may be a position's going to open up. So there is nothing personal about this. What I'm teaching, any feedback I make to anyone, I make only because you and I are a new creation in Christ and you are not living up to your potential. That's why I'm teaching this. Don't you want your family, your friends to live up to their potential? Number 2, sacrifice. You have to pay the price for anything that's worthwhile. Success is paying the price. Number 3, total commitment. You have to demand total commitment from you first and then others. you're all in. I've always said, if you don't have a on 1 to 10, anything you do, you should be at an 8 or higher, or you won't stick it out. Number 4, discipline. Why is discipline so important? It makes you stay the course in tough times. It's discipline. You do it when you don't feel like doing it. You work out when you don't feel like working out. You go to work when it's a rainy day and it's a good day to read a book. So we're finishing up secret number 4. I think we have 15 or 16. Definite chief aim, your definite purpose, your self-confidence, your initiative, your leadership. These are all part of the early stages of you developing successful habits, successful traits for you to be the best. So be very clear. You don't have to do any of these, okay? I don't want to come across commanding you to do them. I'm not even asking you to do them. I'm telling you, it doesn't even matter to me whether you do them or not. I am presenting you the information, and you get to take the test in life and decide whether you go make a good grade on the test, whether you go ace the test, whether you go have a 2.5 or a 4.0. It's all up to you. I love you, and I want you to be successful.